In this episode, we'll be visiting Puka, Albania's alpine town and its surrounding areas. We'll be meeting Gerald and Vullnet, two brothers who are hoping to bring tourism to the town and discovering what this little-known area has to offer. We'll be joining an organisation who are replanting the county's bare hills with trees and visiting one of Albania's first agro-tourism farms, as well as exploring some of Puka's most stunning wild spots. Hey guys, we're coming to you from Puka in the north of Albania. We're now in the foothills of the Albanian Alps here. The views are amazingly gorgeous. We're going to be meeting some local guides and hopefully they're going to be taking us to try out some local produce, see how it's made, try some of the local beer and of course meet some of the villagers and get a real taste for rural life in Albania. During our time here, we'd be staying on this incredibly beautiful mountain ledge at the base of a mountain we would later learn was named for its strong winds. Every morning, we'd take a short drive through the luscious pine forest, following a winding dirt track which would eventually lead us into the town. 150 kilometers north of Albania's capital city, Tirana, Puka sits at over 800 meters above sea level, making it one of the country's highest towns. It sits nestled in the foothills of the incredible Albanian Alps, surrounded by pine forest on all sides, and is quickly gaining popularity for its skiing. The entire area offers endless opportunities for camping, hiking and off-roading, with the town providing the perfect little base from which to explore. In recent years, the town has been renovated to include Alpine-style architecture with slanting red-roofed buildings and the large, newly redesigned town square, as well as the beautiful mosque at the heart of town. Well guys, we've just arrived in Puka. First impressions?
Yeah, I like it. It's quite a nice little town, isn't it?
Yeah. You were saying it's got like a kind of small town vibe about it, which sort of reminds us a bit of Cornwall in a way, but obviously
forget that.
Much more Albanian. So we just had our morning burek and now we're going to go meet these guys who we've been chatting to on Instagram a bit, have a little look around their guest house, and they're pretty keen to show us their local area.
Yeah.
I'm quite excited.
Just rewind a little bit though, the burek was delicious. It's probably one of our favourites, but it was actually so good we didn't even save it to show you guys, so just wolfed that down this morning.
How much was that? About 30p I think?
I think it was about 30p, really nice. Cheap. I love that everywhere you go the style is kind of different, but and the cheese is different and the strengths are different. Yeah. It's kind of a lucky dip because I don't really like strong cheese myself, but
I love it, even for
you
breakfast.
Love it, so sometimes we have to do a little trade-off and Lucy will end up just having both of them and I'll go hungry.
So we're nice and full with our burek now.
Today we enjoyed it, so we're going to go and meet those guys and see what the town offers, I guess. Let's go and have a little look.
We went to meet local brothers Gerald and Vullnet to find out how they were hoping to bring more tourism to the area and what first inspired them to open a hotel in the town.
So my name is Gerald and I'm from Puka. This is the town of Puka, and so I'm a student of architecture and I've gone to USA 3 times through a work and travel program, and I've worked as a server and housekeeper there, so I wanted to bring all my experience that I have in the American tourism, and I wanted to bring it in my hometown, and this is how I wanted to do it. So my family and I had a house here, and they've been living here for 22 years, and then we didn't use the second floor of our house. No, we never used it, so we had this idea of turning it into a guest house. So we actually thought about turning our floor into a guest house that will actually bring, we could actually host people from all around the world in Puka and then give them some values that Puka has. I wanted to show people that people from Albania do not need to leave Albania. It's not like a must to leave Albania. Of course, there are people who has to go there and try and see how the world works, but coming back to your country is the best thing ever, because you can bring all that experience that you saw there and then actually you try to implement it in your hometown, in your home, or in your home country. this is how I wanted to show my experience and everything, and people who are going to come here are going to have like the hospitality if they were in USA standards, but of course it's going to be the traditions of our hometown and our home country.
Gerald and Vullnet are working hard to bring more tourism to the town of Puka, renovating their house to accommodate guests, as well as establishing links with other hospitality sectors in the area. So we're just driving up this track now to go and check out a viewpoint which looks out over the valley nearby, but it's a little bit bumpy.
Just a little bit, yeah.
I don't know how much further our van is actually going to be able to make it up this track. I think we might have to just park it and walk the rest
Let's
of the way.
stop beating it up today, I think enough. Let's just get off.
After meeting the brothers at their home, Gerald took us for a drive to a nearby vantage point above the town. The crumbling ruins of a lookout tower hinted at the country's communist history, and huge underground bunkers were a stark reminder of the paranoia of former dictator Enver Hoxha. These bunkers used to contain enough weapons and armour to keep the local population armed for 5 years, until they were raided during the country's period of civil unrest in 1997. These weapons were then used in protest of the government's failed pyramid schemes, which left the country destitute, with gunshots flying all across the valley, fired by trigger-happy residents. This area, once used as a vantage point to defend against invasions from neighbouring countries which never happened, more recently became home to a family and their goats, but now lies totally abandoned. Well, that view up there from that viewpoint was absolutely insane, wasn't it?
It was incredible.
So beautiful, and I tell you what, I would quite happily move into that little abandoned house up there because that had probably got one of the best views in Albania.
Honestly, if only we could.
Needs a little bit of work maybe, but I'd like moving.
If we had the money for that, I just wouldn't even hesitate.
Yeah.
I'd buy it straight away. See you later, England.
Yep, that'd be it. It was so interesting as well to learn a bit more about Albania's history actually from an Albanian, because I find it a bit overwhelming when you're trying to look at it online. It's quite a complex history, but to hear it coming from someone and with a more personal note about his local area, I feel like I understood it better, and you can really see the scars that are still left on the landscape, and you realise that this history we're talking about is only about 20 years ago. It's interesting to see.
Yeah, it really is. It's also interesting to get the perspectives, because every single person we speak to seems to have a different account of the history, and
yeah, it's true.
It's the same across the whole of the Balkans. It's a very passionate area of Europe, and everyone's very passionate about their own beliefs and how history is sort of played out in their eyes.
Yeah,
so
that's it.
Just meet as many people as you can when you're out here, and you'll start to get kind of an idea of the history of the Balkans. But it's the most fascinating place ever, and every time we meet someone, it kind of reignites that in us, doesn't it? We kind of realise it all over again.
And you would not imagine that there had been so much fighting in that place, because it is such a peaceful area now. It's just silence, and we can hear in the mountains and goat bells.
Yeah, it's phenomenally beautiful up there.
Absolutely amazing. We left the vantage point and its complex history behind us. Next on our agenda was to meet back up with Vullnet and convoy with him and some friends down some rather impressive mountain roads to a nearby village. Here we'd be joining a group of volunteers led by Alfred Matoshi from the charity One More Tree on a tree planting expedition. Alfred explained to the group how to correctly plant the nuts, digging a small hole and adding 2 chestnuts, then covering and fertilising them. Now all we had to do was make the hike up to the area we'd be planting, admittedly at a slower pace than the Albanians. Once we were at the peak, it was clear to see the bareness of this hill in comparison to its forested neighbours. The charity is working to counter the deforestation caused by an invasive species known as processionary caterpillars. These caterpillars nest in pine trees across southern Europe in cobweb-like structures, eating away at the pine needles until nothing remains of the tree. The volunteers were planting chestnut trees, a species that would not be affected by the insects. Once the area has been reforested with these trees, it will ensure that future generations have the clean, healthy air that Puka is famous for, and residents will be able to harvest and sell the chestnuts to generate themselves an income. Well, we just left those guys up on the hill to finish planting the chestnuts, and now we're heading over to somebody's farm to see how some of the local produce is made, such as tea and preserves.
So I'm sorry we didn't do any on-camera filming back there at the tree planting, and you might have noticed actually on this video we haven't done a lot of on-camera talking outside of the van, and there's a very good reason for that, because it is so windy everywhere we've been.
Crazy windy.
I tried to take the drone up when we were doing the tree planting, and I crashed it the first 2 times. It rose about 2 foot and then just went flying straight back into the dirt again. We're up against it here completely, and you know, we just haven't got that tiny little bit of fluff that we need to put over this microphone. It's so infuriating.
Get rid of all the wind and we can talk to you guys outdoors.
Like normal people. So unfortunately it's just kind of confined to the walls of the van for this video. But oh my god, that's narrow. Christ.
Balkan roads.
So yeah, sorry about that, guys.
But that tree planting is such a great initiative.
Yeah,
I mean, to us it was almost like there are so many trees in this area. Every mountain, every hill is covered in trees. It is beautiful. But you know what, they're determined. They want to keep the trees going. They don't want them to get eradicated by the caterpillars. They're willing to go up there in this horrendous wind and replant some of the bare hills. I think it's a great project.
Yeah, it is. It's really good. Hats off to them all for doing that.
Yeah.
Massive respect. So it was really good fun to witness as well. We learned how to plant trees.
Yeah,
so,
we hope you guys enjoyed it too. We followed Vullnet and his friends in their car over to the nearby village of Keret Imad, where we would meet the owner of one of Albania's first agro-tourism businesses. Maria is a resourceful woman who, while raising 5 daughters, decided to open up her farm to tourism, repurposing the age-old skills of foraging, cultivating and preserving to offer not only products to sell, but also a unique experience for visitors. After 20 years of living self-sufficiently and producing organic products to sell, they opened the 2nd floor of their home to create 3 separate rooms for guests due to popular demand. But their pride and joy lies in the storeroom on the 1st floor. Here we were shown a huge variety of products Maria makes. Everything from dried fruits, pickled vegetables, preserves, syrups, and of course, rakia. We were even fortunate enough to try some of their delicious foods.
It's Berber juice.
Ooh.
Ta kërkoni një herë, pastaj shtym të tjetër.
Exotic.
Cheers.
Merci.
Gëzuar.
Gëzuar.
Kjo është vetëm në apel. Ndërsa
Oh, so good.
It's really nice.
I have a clean hand.
What was this called again?
still in it.
It's in language Albania called pli. Pli is a traditional food.
Okay.
Very nice.
Kjo të kunja me të.
Oh wow. Really good.
Oh yeah.
I can't stop eating it, it's too good.
We're going to try some of the wild cherry liqueur that they produce here.
Gëzuar.
Oh wow. Oh, that's really nice. We then spoke to Maria about the opportunities tourism has opened up for her and many others in this area, an industry that is still relatively new to Albania, but rapidly developing. You can find out more about this topic in our upcoming documentary film. After a long day exploring what Puka has to offer, planting trees in the mountains, and visiting Maria and her family, we returned to the town centre. We had just one more place to visit, and what better way to end the day than by sampling the local beer. So we've come to the Hotel Tourism in Puka to try some of the local beer, which is actually produced right here. It's completely organic and it's made with mountain spring water, and I tell you what, it's absolutely delicious.
So that just about brings us to the end of our time in Puka. We've had such a cool time here. We've met some really lovely people. This town kind of really reminds me of where we live in Cornwall. It's got that real kind of small town feel to it, but in a really nice way actually. Everyone just kind of gets to know you. We recognise the same faces day to day here. The same 4 police officers going around in their car, just cruising around. It's quite funny to see, but it is a really nice sort of welcoming feeling here. We've had such a cool time. It's been nice to sort of experience the rural life as well with the Agro-tourism farm, seeing what those guys are producing over there. It's really amazing what they're doing. We've had such an interesting experience planting the trees, learning about the sort of deforestation and how they're trying to combat it with the planting of the chestnuts. All in all, it's been a really good start to our time in the Albanian Alps, I think.
I do not want to leave, do you?
No, not at all.
Really settled in here. I feel like I could just stay here forever. It's so beautiful.
That's the thing, yeah.
Everywhere you look is just mountains as far as the eye can see. You've got the snow-capped peaks of the Albanian Alps in the distance. Everything you need is in the town, just a 5-minute drive away. It's been amazing. Yeah,
we love our little spot we found here, you know. It's just literally like on the mountain ledge, and you could just got this 360 panorama view of the forest around us. It's insane. Today it's like 15 degrees and we don't want to leave.
Yeah.
We've just totally kind of made this our home now, you know. It's the thing about our lifestyle, it's such a fluid lifestyle, you're always on the move, but actually when you stop in a place and get to know the area, you kind of feel like it's your home suddenly. Mm-hmm. You know, you do get quite kind of sentimental about it.
Very attached.
The people have made it for us, you know. We've felt so welcome, everyone's been so helpful. We've had problems with a van. We've had to get jump started like 3 times here before, but no one really cares. Everyone's just so helpful, and
everyone's just thanking us for being here and for visiting, because they don't get many tourists, so it's been really lovely.
Yeah, like I'm not just saying this to help these guys out, but like you seriously come to this part of Albania because it's kind of really authentic, you know. It's not like really built up and touristic like the coastline is. This to me is what real Albania feels like, and it's kind of the culmination of all of our experiences so far through Albania. It all kind of comes together here, and the people here are so enthusiastic about their area. They really want tourism. They really want you to come and visit and experience and see what it's all about, try their local produce. Everyone here will guarantee you a good time, so I recommend if you're coming through Albania, you absolutely need to come to Puka.
Definitely.
100%. But I think for now that's probably us here. We're going to head a little bit further into the Albanian Alps now. We're going to meet someone in the northernmost city of Skoda, where we've already been once before. It's a lovely place. We're going to meet someone different this time. We're hoping, fingers crossed, he's going to be able to take us into the mountains, into a mountainous region full of tiny little villages. We're going to go and experience some authentic village life and see what else we can film.
Continue the adventure.
Continue the adventure, yes.
See you guys on the next one.
Let's see what we can find. Bye.
Everybody's heading for the cliff.